January 14th, 2021. James Harden has just been traded to the Brooklyn Nets, completing what was supposed to be the greatest super team in NBA history.
I don't see anybody stopping them.
It was a dream lineup with the deadliest scorer the league has ever seen, a walking triple-double, and arguably the most skilled player of all time. Odds makers instantly crowned them as the favorites to win it all, and fans were already planning the parade before they even played a single game. With a combined 24 All-Star appearances, 7 scoring titles, and 3 championships, this team wasn't just built to win, it was built to dominate. And they would have if it wasn't for Kevin Durant's shoes. Now, to fully understand the hype around this team, we have to go back to the beginning. Kevin Durant had already cemented his legacy as one of the greatest players of all time. Fresh off 2 championship runs with the Warriors, he was determined to prove that he could win without them. Then there was James Harden, a 3-time scoring champ who had just forced his way out of Houston after years of playoff heartbreak. He was desperate to get back to the biggest stage. And finally, Kyrie Irving, a player with a championship ring but a chip on his shoulder. He wanted to prove he was more than just LeBron's sidekick. 3 superstars, all with something to prove, joining forces to dominate the NBA in ways we'd never seen before. But as we all know, basketball isn't played on paper, and while the Nets' big 3 looked invincible, injuries, egos, and a bit of bad luck would turn this promising core into one of the biggest disappointments in NBA history.
Had a 2-0 lead over Giannis.
The date is January 16th, 2021. Just 2 days after James Harden joined the Brooklyn Nets, the Big 3 finally took the court. Well, sort of. In their debut, Kevin Durant and James Harden combined for 74 points in a win against the Orlando Magic. Kyrie Irving missed the game due to personal reasons, but it didn't matter. The potential was undeniable. When Kyrie returned on the 20th, fans got their first look at the complete super team. Durant, Harden, and Kyrie took the floor together, and it was a basketball fan's dream. And while their first game together ended in a double overtime loss to the Cavaliers, the offensive firepower was jaw-dropping. The Nets had an offensive rating of 122.5 in games where all 3 of the stars played, a number that shattered records. Their ability to score was unmatched, with Durant and Kyrie attacking with finesse while Harden orchestrated like a true professional. But for all their brilliance on offense, cracks were already forming. Their Achilles heel was painfully obvious: the defense. The Nets regularly allowed over 120 points per game, ranking near the bottom of the league in defensive efficiency. And then came the real problem: availability. Kevin Durant missed 37 games, Kyrie had personal absences and minor injuries, and James Harden, despite his strong start, began battling hamstring issues of his own towards the end of the season. And by the end of the regular season, the Big 3 had only played 8 games together. And yet, even with all the chaos, the Nets still finished with a 48-24 record, good enough for the 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference. The potential was there for a championship run, and when healthy, this was the best team in the league. But that was the exact problem: these guys could just never stay on the floor. The Nets entered the 2021 postseason poised to dominate, and on paper, they had it all: offensive firepower, the all-star talent, and championship expectations. But as we all know, reality doesn't always match the script. Their first test came in the opening round against the Boston Celtics. Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving wasted no time showing why they were the favorites, as in Game 1, the trio combined for 82 points in a commanding win. By Game 5, they closed out the series with another dominant performance, advancing to the Eastern Conference semifinals. The offense was clicking, and the Big 3 looked unstoppable. The real challenge came in the second against the Milwaukee Bucks, led by Giannis. The Nets started strong, winning games 1 and 2 by a staggering 47 points combined, and at that point, they looked pretty invincible. But then disaster struck. In Game 4, Kyrie Irving landed awkwardly on Giannis' foot, suffering a severe ankle sprain that sidelined him for the rest of the season. Meanwhile, James Harden was battling a lingering hamstring issue, severely limiting his mobility. And suddenly, the weight of the series fell entirely on Kevin Durant. With it tied at 2 apiece, Game 5 became an instant classic, with Durant delivering one of the greatest playoff performances of all time. He played all 48 minutes, scoring 49 points, grabbing 17 rebounds, and dishing out 10 assists. The man single-handedly willed Brooklyn to a 114-108 victory, giving the Nets a 3-2 series lead. It was a masterclass in resilience, but the Bucks weren't done. Milwaukee bounced back in Game 6, forcing a legendary Game 7 back in Brooklyn, a game that turned into everything a basketball fan could hope for.
One on the shot clock, Harden fires away. Harris goes to the rim and draws the foul. Racing to the bucket and scores.
It was a back-and-forth battle between 2 heavyweights, and once again, Kevin Durant put the team on his back, scoring 48 points. The game came down to a single do-or-die shot with just 2 seconds left on the clock. Durant rose up, hit the shot, and sent the crowd into a frenzy, but there was one problem: his massive feet.
The question is, was his toe on the line? And it looks like from that angle, It was on the line.
What could have been a game-winning three-pointer turned into a game-tying two-pointer. That shot sent the game into overtime, but it also sealed Brooklyn's fate. In the extra period, the Nets ran out of gas.
Flips it, and it carries in. There's Durant, blocked by Lopez, spinning, and hits.
Durant missed the contested jumper, and the Bucks prevailed by 4 points, ending Brooklyn's season in heartbreaking fashion. The 2021 playoffs should have been the start of something special, but instead it became the beginning of the end. Injuries and missed opportunities turned the most talented trio in NBA history into one of the biggest what-ifs the league has ever seen. But as we'll see, this drama is far from over.
Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks. James Harden wants a trade to the Philadelphia 76ers.
And Kevin Durant is headed to Phoenix.
The Brooklyn Nets super team experiment, once brimming with promise, ended in disappointment. What started as a dream team dissolved into chaos as each superstar eventually found their way out of Brooklyn. In February of 2022, James Harden's frustrations finally boiled over. He was unhappy with the team's lack of structure, Kyrie Irving's inconsistent availability, and growing tensions with Kevin Durant. And after just a year with the team, Harden requested a trade and was sent packing to the Sixers. By February of 2023, it was Kyrie's turn. After 2 chaotic seasons with the franchise and failings to secure a long-term extension, Kyrie demanded out. The Nets shipped him off to Dallas, ending his stint in Brooklyn. And finally, just 3 days later, Kevin Durant, left without both of his all-star companions, jump-shipped as well, joining Phoenix in a blockbuster trade. And just like that, the Big Three era in Brooklyn was over. In the end, the Nets' ambitious super team experiment resulted in just one playoff series victory. Injuries, ego, and off-the-court drama turned what could have been a dynasty into a footnote in NBA history. 3 superstars, 3 separate paths, and 1 giant question. What would the NBA landscape look like if Kevin Durant's feet weren't so massive?